This is George Lowe from Decorah, Iowa. And George, what would you like to say about the show, the St. Croix Valley Potters Tour today?
This is unbelievable. I've heard about it for years, and I've known there have been some pretty good potters involved in it, but I'm really flattered to be part of this group of potters. It's probably some of the best potters that I know of around the whole country, and I don't think there's another show, anything like this anywhere that I've ever heard of or seen of that has so many good, really good potters from this part of the country. And then the people that have come here, it's been non-stop all day, and knowledgeable people. They know a lot about pottery. They know what they're looking for, and they know what they're looking at, and they got good questions. And I make little functional pottery pots that are meant to be useful, and people like that, and they're buying it, and they never have asked me for a different price. The price I said is just fine. It's not an issue. In some shows, people are trying to barter with you, but people are very respectful here and so knowledgeable. And
could you please share us a little bit about one of your pieces?
Okay, well, one thing, I make a lot of jars, and they sort of make me want to they invite one to just want to have to take the lid off, and all of a sudden I'm touching and engaged with the pot, and little handles that suggest that maybe you pick it up, and it's a useful piece. It's a nice big casserole, and it could go in the oven or whatever, be used and be at its best when I open it up, it's steaming pot of beans or something. And I like the colors, kind of evoke a nice flavor, I think, and just simplicity, but yet I try to put some of my energy, hopefully, is reflected in the piece.
Could you share some details of the firing process?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I've fired in wood burning kilns for over 20 years, and I could hardly break away from that. I felt like that was what I had to do, was use a wood burning kiln. Well, these are all fired in a gas kiln, and so I'm trying to create a similar aesthetic by layering the glazes, and I'm pleased with the warm, rich colors that I'm getting, and doing it in a different way than just relying on the wood kiln to finish the pieces. And it's a little more, I think wood firing is kind of brutal sometimes, and I think I'm using a gas kiln, and I think I get more successful pieces.
Now, you mentioned layering the glazes. Could you get a little bit more detailed, or would you care to?
Yeah, so it's taken me a while to kind of figure it out, but I'm using a dark clay body, so the clay itself is pretty dark color, and then I bisque fire, the first fire with no glaze. I apply a pretty thick coat of white slip, and then I start to rub that off. It kind of highlights the growing marks, and then spraying thin sodium glazes and some ash mixture on top of that. So there's 3 layers of material applied on these, so you kind of get a sense of depth by you can see the layering of the different glazes I'm using, and every one turns out differently, so I like it. Even though it's all pretty much the same family of glazes, get a nice variety, I think.
What temperature are you firing your bisque and glaze firing at?
The bisque is cone 08, or about 1745 or 1750 degrees Fahrenheit. It's pretty typical for most people, and then the glaze firing is mostly cone 10 or so, stoneware. It's pretty typical. So the pots are useful and food safe and microwavable and vitrified and good to use. Should last a long time.
Excellent. Now, is there any piece here that you are especially thrilled about, and that you could say something about why you are?
Well, I've had a really good show so far, and some of my favorite pieces have already been taken, but this one actually, I love these picture shapes, because you can see I make a lot of pictures, and the picture is always a form that's giving of itself. It's always serving. Just sitting there is still doing a nice activity of offering itself. And it has a handle, and so this one, I think the elements are coming together pretty well. A handle, so then suddenly I'm engaged with the piece and kind of imagining using it. And it kind of has a forward motion, this oval shape kind of gives it a forward movement, I think. And then, I don't know, I think as a potter, you're always pushing yourself and trying things that are a little risky, and so by making these altered shapes, I think there's a stage in there where they're pretty delicate stage where they're almost collapsing, but then kind of pushing, and I like to just push from the inside out, so there's sort of this interior, this breath of air it's just inhaled, a big deep breath, and that's the way I try to capture that sort of quality.
Well, excellent. Well, we'd love to have you next year. Do you think you'll be able to join us?
Oh, I'd be delighted to be part of this show. This is my favorite. So.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have a good day.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for letting me be here.